So I can predict the results of Rwanda's election that took place today. The president of Rwanda, Paul Kagame, the dictator, will win by 99.99%. I already know that because I've already seen the results.
I had to vote Mr. Paul Kagame because of his ambitions and forces he made to make our country almost a paradise.
As you know, for the last 3 or 4 weeks, the Rwandan social media and most social media in Africa has been abuzz with the story that Rwanda has these campaigns, electoral campaigns, and they are campaigning in Rwanda so that they can vote. And as you know, a lot of people in the world know that the Rwandan campaigns are basically more like a farce. They're put up there, I don't know for who, but we know it's like a game. They're acting because Paul Kagame just conducts election for the sake of it. And we know is that he's a total man. He's the constitution of Rwanda. He's the government in Rwanda. There's no other one. There's no other person in Rwanda who has a say in whatever happens there if he doesn't approve it. And that's what happens there. Anyway, so the story goes that Rwandans lined up on Monday to elect their next president, with incumbent Paul Kagame widely expected to win. This time round, he might win by 100%. Last time he won by 99.9%. So this time round is going to win by 100. Next time, 101. And it kind of reminds me that part from that movie called Dictator. You remember the part where they were kind of racing and the dictator had a gun, so he was supposed to shoot the other competitor in the foot, and then he would run, and then he got tired. He had to ask the people at the finish line to pick the finish line and bring it to him and meet halfway. That's Paul Kagame for you. And that's how I saw this election. And then the other issue is Paul Kagame wants to tell the world that Rwanda is a very safe country and there's no insecurity, and that Rwandans love him so much. They call him their father. But during campaigns in different districts in Rwanda, which we saw are very poor, in some videos, if you go to Twitter, for X platform that is, you see some video showing the background of a very poor country. As a matter of fact, if you remove Kigali, the image we know of the capital, Rwanda is like Burundi, no different. And maybe Burundi is more developed than Rwanda in the rural areas. I'm not sure about that. But Rwanda is a very poor country. You could tell. So the story I'm trying to say is that he had 12 bodyguards around him the whole time he was campaigning. Of course, African political class campaign with bodyguards strategically positioned, but not around him. These ones, the Rwandan kind of bodyguards, were not even moving 1 meter away from him. They were like making a circle around him, including his own son. I think Ian Kagame, right? He's was one of those, the team. So I would expect the others to be cousins and family members. And they had these initials on their jacket called CTU, which means counter-terrorist unit. Like Rwanda has never had a known terrorist attack. The same way we say in Kenya, Al-Shabaab, in Tanzania, in bomb blast from Al-Qaeda, in even Uganda had some terrorists. But Rwanda, no terrorists. But they have a counter-terrorist unit that protects the president from terrorists, from his own citizen. So that shows that this is a government that is ruled by force, by the use of the gun, by oppression, more like colonization of the people there. And then the people are forced to follow what they are told, like zombies, like the North Korea. There's no difference between Rwanda and North Korea. Only that North Korea is slightly advanced in certain areas than Rwanda, and they have nuclear weapons. Rwanda doesn't have weapons. They have guns, simple guns, but those guns are sometimes used in a very effective way to kill their own citizens who opposed him. And then the other issue is what I noticed is that Paul Kagame doesn't allow anyone to challenge him. So the candidates that are supposed to run against him are people. Once you basically present your form to run as a presidential candidate in Rwanda, the first thing they do is to run a background check on you, particularly on the financial connection you have. And once they realize you actually have no bank account or you are very poor, you basically have less than $20 in your account, they stamp it as approved. So the candidates I saw running against Paul Kagame, according to this ballot, are two people, one from the Green Party, and he had like 3 people following him. And he was using the public means to move around. He was using buses. He would go to a bus stage, a bus terminal, pick one of those smaller buses and go to a certain area to talk. Basically, he was like a pastor, the African pastors in the marketplace. And then another one, this one is even more poorer than the previous one. He didn't even have enough money to buy a public speaking, those handheld megaphones, the handheld megaphone. So he didn't have money to buy that one until someone donated one to him. The white one that mostly you see in Africa during the vaccination campaigns, the people from the ministry moving around in the marketplace announcing the vaccination. So those are the candidates that he allows to run with or to run against. More like a horse trying to raise a snail or anything that looks like a snail. So definitely a slug, a snail, and their cousins will be now racing against this horse. That is the situation. And that's why he might get 99.99 or 101%. So it's a sham. It shows that Rwanda doesn't have democracy. That's what I'm trying to say. If you think, and if you look up what democracy means, it means a lot of things, but basically it's where the power is vested in the people, and it's the rule of the majority. If the other definition of it is basically the rule of the majority through their representative, but it's the majority basically. Now, the majority in Rwanda are the Hutu people, and they don't really support Paul Kagame in their hearts. It's only that they just openly pretend to support him. And he's supported by a smaller group of the Tutsi, not the whole Tutsi group. More than half of the Tutsi people in Rwanda also don't support him. And he has been jailing them every now and then. And the real group that is left supporting him is because they have, or their family members have been appointed in very important government positions. So they support him not out of love, but as an extension of them protecting their wealth or the jobs that they have. So that is the situation in Rwanda. And then the Rwandan president also had a chance to kind of give a speech, a press briefing, this one, and he actually started talking about Congo. The whole press brief was all about Congo.